And we are live. No music
We
today.
we are live.
We
Welcome
dropping it
everybody.
hot.
This is SafeWord, a platform for teaching, learning, and opening the eyes of our audience to the world of kink and BDSM. Remy is taking a little birthday break today, so I
Happy
am filling in for the intro.
birthday! So now that we've screamed all up in the thing, made Zoom freak out. I
I am
am,
your host, Kane Marcos.
and I'm your second host, Sorora Stores. This is really weird without Remy.
It is.
I know. And I'm your co-host, Miss Sasha Lyncher.
So, if you watched our last video, it was on consent versus non-consensual kink love line edition. So, if you haven't checked it out,
Hello.
go back, watch it. It's in the description box below. I will put the link there.
Say hello.
I promise you, we do run-throughs and have meetings for how these are supposed to go. And
No,
for
this is
some
just a
reason
free-for-all.
it just never
we
works.
like
So
we like messing
winging
with
it,
Kane.
winging it seems to keep the wheels going. So let's do it.
All right.
If
So,
you're watching, like and subscribe.
yep, there you go. Thank you. All right, you're with it. All right. So, if you watch our show, this is SafeWord, and here at SafeWord, we have safe words to stop, halt, completely put a pause on all topics of conversation. We use this word. If you don't like what somebody's saying, if it's getting too loud, if you're not being heard, you say the word. This safe word that we have, which is crew, would we like to tell them what the safe word of the day is? 1, 2, 3.
Love
line. So we have a lot of audio issues here with Zoom. So if you are not being heard or you're saying the safe word and no one is responding, we have a symbol we throw up here. Can my crew show us what that is? Show everybody what it is. It is. All right. So you're going to throw that up. If no one's stopping, make sure you say the safe word because everybody needs to know what it is. And Kane, got some hot topics for us?
I sure do. And this one's actually a study based off of in 2016, but I just found it and I thought it was pretty funny. So there's been a study by psychologists and biologists, and they found out that your kinks and your fetishes are hereditary.
What? Really? I'm sorry, I'm just laughing because of who my mom is.
So I thought that was really hilarious. Yeah, so did a research study in New Brunswick, and like I said, it's back in 2016. They brought psychologists, biologists together, and they studied, a group of people with fetishes and kinks, and then did interviews with the parents and found out that a lot of the kinks and everything were passed down from generation to generation. So it doesn't mean that everything that you're into might have, came from your parents, because you are definitely capable, the study says, of introducing yourself and opening your own paths into new kinks and fetishes. Just so happens you might end up passing those down to your children.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I thought that was hilarious. It was kind of cool.
Well, we all are creatures of learned behavior. So indirectly, whether it's taught or observed, we all have a purpose for whatever our parents have said. And we adapted in some way. So I could totally see that.
Yeah.
I laughed because think of how many people, like, their parents are ashamed of them for having that kink and being open about it.
Right.
And now somebody hearing this is like, mother.
Yeah.
Right.
Or I mean, if your parent is kind of in the closet about those kinds of things, I wouldn't know. My mom's so open, it's ridiculous. But if your parent is kind of closed off about talking about those kinds of things, and then you have a kink or a fetish, then you're sitting there going, oh.
You see it far too often in movies and shows, like that aspect, especially when it's showing a certain like social class, I guess. Right. You see it so much. So it is learned. It can be learned behavior. Yes, it can be.
My one hope, my one dream is that there's a parent watching this right now and going like, oh shit.
They didn't snitched on me. Like, don't listen to them.
Why
They
are you
didn't
telling
do
my
a good
kids
study.
about what my fetishes and my kinks is?
What was that?
So let's
that
do
scene from Half Baked when they're talking about the different kinds of smokers, and it's like the kid who smokes to, like be a rebel, and a father who smokes trying to figure out a way to connect with his son.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's weird. And there's a parent and a kid watching this somewhere, and they're just like, oh, maybe
really
we should talk about this.
Right.
Please don't let
So
it be.
fix your estranged relationship. Tell your parents or kids about SafeWord. You're of age kids.
You're of age kids. Thank you. Yes.
Right.
I hope there are no kids watching this.
Right. And make sure if you have to be 18 or older, and any views or opinions shared by us are merely our views and opinions, and
Completely up for debate. So email me about why you don't want to tell your 14-year-old about kink.
Right. Did you have more hot topics for us, Kane?
No, I thought I had that one and it was pretty funny. So I was like, I'm just going to stick with that one, because we'll probably ride that for a bit.
Yeah, that was good.
That's super thought provoking. So now, like, we didn't just mess up everybody's heads. They're going to go back and be like, so what's going on with my parents?
Yeah, I thought it was weird.
Or they're getting ready to go into a scene and they're grabbing like the leather flogger and some cuffs, and they're just like, oh shit.
You get that stare off moment when they have it. They're like, I wonder if my mom would be doing this with my dad. That would be so horrible.
Oh gosh, yeah, that would not be good.
Well, that takes us into we had some questions from some of our friends watching. Some people just had some questions, so we wanted to throw these around and just see what we had to say, and feel free to sound off in the comments and let us know what you guys think of some of these. So, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Got it.
All right. So we have Nina Moore. And she wrote us and she was like, why is consent important and how important is it? So what do we think about that?
Damn.
Yeah.
Why is consent important? Not even the what. Why?
Bill Cosby, Armie Hammer,
yeah.
Jello pudding pops and gold.
What's that dude's name? Weinstein, Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Kevin Spacey.
The other guy that was doing all that other stuff. Oh my gosh, not Weinstein.
List of them now. I mean,
there's a documentary on
Father O'Malley.
That sounds like a personal relationship.
It is, you know what? I think consent is important, especially in a placing, because if someone is forcing consent on someone or kind of gaslighting the situation, you can fall into a situation. You're like, did I really say I wanted to do that? Or like, am I just doing it to please somebody? Or like, he brought me something, so now I'm doing this.
Well, so that's like hard limits versus your soft limits, though. I mean, like that's not even really going into consent. I mean, that's like way past consent. So if you're in a scene and you haven't even, developed a safe word, or if you don't even have like trust in between your partner, I mean, then you're already like stepping into a bad situation.
Right. And some people don't know, because what if you're vanilla and you're thinking and you're being risky just going into a situation? You don't know what a negotiation, you don't know what this is. And what if someone is versed in kink? And now you've gotten yourself in the wolf kind of sheep situation. And if someone's not using their power or dom spirit correctly, like that can get out of hand real quick. So that probably we'll scale back, because we may talk about this in other questions that we have. Anybody else have anything?
Well, no, I mean, let's see. Why is consent important? I mean, it shows respect for both yourself and your partner. I mean, it's you've got to have that kind of respect and knowing the limits, the boundaries, that kind of thing. It's really important to. So it was a two-part question. It was like, what was it? Why is consent important? And then there was another piece to it.
Why is consent important, and how is it important? Like the impact of the importance.
Well, go ahead. No, go ahead, Kay.
No, it's just,
this is a good topic. Like, it's making us really think, because we strive to give you guys good information, not to cut you off, King. And we want to make sure that this is a super important topic. And we want to make sure that we're driving home the points that need to resonate, at least personally for us.
Yeah.
So sorry, Kane. I just wanted to stress that.
Oh no.
Go ahead, Kane.
No, it's just it's very important. You know, you don't want to get put in a situation where you can get hurt or where somebody else can get hurt, or where you're putting depending on if you take a dom position or a dominant position, you need to know what the limitations are, what the boundaries are. And if you don't have consent, I mean, you're literally one swipe, one touch away from violating that person's privacy, violating that person's
Trust.
Their spirit too, because sometimes that could just
they're like, I was like violating their self-respect. I mean, if they don't give you their consent, then you're taking it into an emotional place, I think, you know, more than just the physical, because physical wounds will heal, but the emotional and the mental turmoil that comes from that. And it all stems from, hey, if you're consenting to this, then you're already a willing participant. And, you know, if something does occur and you have a safe word in place, then you can kind of sit back and say, well, I stepped into that. I was a willing participant. It's easier to get over mentally, even if it hurts you.
You know, can rationalize that though.
Yeah.
Like that's, you can sit back with yourself, like you said, and rationalize that, as opposed to taking someone's free will to knowingly make their own sound decisions, because that's super violating.
Yeah. I mean, it's a way to build trust. It's a way to build that connection. I mean, and it doesn't even always have to be that serious, you know, why and how
right.
You know, you just talk about it. It's communication. It's getting the clear understanding of what someone's comfortable with versus what somebody isn't comfortable with.
So let's take it to a lighter note. What if it's trying new things with your spouse or something like that? And like, you should get consent before you start trying to, like, you know, if it was situations like that, or like bringing something home and you're doing something and your partner's like, wait, I wasn't ready to see you like that. I wasn't ready to wrap my mind around it, because sometimes that may shift your pivot of how you view that person or whatever. So if you consent or get a consent established on like even a lighter note, it's nice, because you don't want to turn somebody off for something that could be set up a different way.
Very true.
And the other thing is, like, consent isn't always like a written contract. I mean, it's not a legally binding, you know, notarized document saying yes. It's just like you were talking about couples, just getting your partner in the mood is a form of receiving consent. You know, it's like your partner's in the mood or your partner isn't. And so that's going to, you know, lead to one thing or another. Well, and so if a partner is like not taking the advance as well, then hey, that's non-consent. They're not interested. So, you know, time to go.
Well, and here's even something that we can bring it up a notch here, or give you a positive spin on this. So if you are in a relationship and you're like, oh gosh, why do I have to talk about consent? Or, you know, oh God, do I really have to? Sometimes you do, especially if there's been that time and you guys have been together for a really long time. You need to have that conversation and that open communication. But I mean, you could sit there and really have that conversation, and it could actually end up helping you and your partner get into the mood, you know? I mean, just talking about it and talking about what you're okay with. Are you good if I do this? Are you good if I do that? You know?
Because then that's even setting the tone to even, and then it's even setting the tone to even open up the door, because you didn't already establish, then you gonna open up the floodgate of Pandora's box of, you know, pleasant opportunities, and you don't want to scare off pleasant opportunities.
Well, and that's the thing. It's just like, okay, so having consent is one thing, and a lot of people might look at it as kind of like, well, that kind of kills the spontaneity of something. If you're trying to be spontaneous, you're trying to be, you know, just a little bit forward, you know, just trying something new, doesn't necessarily mean it has to kill the mood. It just, you know the limitations, know the boundaries, you know, because sometimes your partner will come out of the shower looking like a snack and you just want to do something. So
and what if it's not snack time? Okay, what if it's not snack time? The vending machine is out. What if
it's like
you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out one way or another. It's just whether you continue on, whether you press the issue, and sometimes. Oh man, I'm not gonna say that because that'll be a real shit show. People can be confusing. People can be confusing sometimes, and you know, sometimes no means yes, yes means harder, and safe word means stop. So
whatever. Don't
you kind of gotta push. Sometimes you kind of gotta push for it. You gotta read the room. You gotta read the room.
The wrong direction, just so you know. I mean, you kind of would have had to do something like this, or.
I'm on my screen. I'm in the middle, so it's like.
Oh, whatever. Whatever. You can't do the devil at the crossroad all the time, sir. Okay.
Yes, I can. Just watch.
Oh, yes, I can.
I'll give you that one, and I will move on. Are we? Because that's like one of the most important topics, because consent is something that you see people going down for, and it's a real thing, because it's a fine line between consent and manipulating someone into doing something or peer pressuring them, because as women, just for myself, as a woman, you want to please. And even me myself is like a vanilla person, a switch kind of person. You aim to please. So if someone's giving you that kind of like, well, you said this or that, and you kind of fall into that, but then later on you're like, damn, I really didn't want to do that. And I just was it got me in this split. It's something to take into consideration, because people have gone down for it. So you, even as men, you want to make sure that it's not going to kill the mood. Most women like communication, because then it's like, oh,
yep. Well, yeah. Well, and I mean, there's the thing, like, you don't want to talk about a whole lot. Well, talk about that, because at least it's something you both can,
right,
have a conversation on. You know what I mean?
Like, you see those shows and you have that one guy be like, you into weird stuff, or you like, let's get weird. And like, okay, well, no, I don't really like to get weird. Then it's like, okay, cool. You don't like to get weird. Cool. Then it's, at least you put it, you're shooting your shot, and you don't know what you may get. You know what I'm saying? So communication doesn't have to be that serious, or, consent doesn't have to be that serious, but get a hard yes.
Get a hard yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Okay. Moving on to the next question.
Right, exactly. So we have Roy Chaser. He said, what are some red flags of non-consent? That's a great way to piggyback to the next subject. Red flags of non-consent.
So pressuring, guilting. I mean, we kind of just talked about that a minute ago. Pressuring, guilting,
intimidation.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Wait, I don't think I heard you all the way.
Intimidation.
Oh, intimidation. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's pressuring somebody to do something that they don't want to do. I mean, any of those kinds of feelings, or like, another good one would be like, if he's gotten you something, or she's gotten you something, and she's like, okay, well, I got you something. So.
Yeah, nothing should be done out of obligation.
Yeah, that's a red flag. That is a red flag. You should.
And to even go higher than that, if your intent is to lure someone and get them in a position, and you're kind of mapping things out to gain trust, to have someone in a vulnerable position, that is non-consent.
Yeah.
If you're utilizing things, or if
you're trying to expose a vulnerability at all, I mean, that's already non-consent. So, I mean, it's not even with things. It's just anytime you are targeting a person's weakness, anytime you are forcing somebody to act against their better judgment, forcing somebody to deprecate their own self-respect, or their own self-esteem, that shit's just a red flag. All of that right there. If you're not comfortable with it, that's a red flag. If something's being done and you didn't agree to it, that's a red flag. If somebody's talking about something, the perfect example right now, the Marilyn Manson little controversy that's going out. Marilyn Manson's got
we both like, wait, I like it.
Hold up, what happened with Manson?
A bunch of the chicks that Marilyn Manson used to date are coming forward and saying that that he was very forward, very brutal during sex, and talked about having weird fetishes, fantasies, and everything. Which, I mean, how weird can it be coming from Marilyn Manson? Like, what would be too out of the box? What would be unexpected? But honestly, he's
going into that character versus,
but hold up. He started talking to some chicks about wanting to smash their heads in with hammers.
Oh.
And some of these chicks have come forward saying, is like, yeah, I came out roughed up, bruised. Sometimes it was, stop didn't always, deter the situation. He goes, a lot of women got hurt, and they're coming forward saying all this stuff happened. But Dita Von Teese is an ex of Marilyn Manson's. She hasn't come forward and said anything. I think Jenna Jameson was as well.
Right.
And she hasn't come forward with anything. And some of these are going back for like the last 8 to 10 years. And now they're just barely being brought to light now. But one of the things that is brought up and they were talking about is the way that he would express himself, the way that he would talk about things that he wanted to do. And it's just like, whoa, that's a little dark. You know, I'm not into that. And then continuing to talk about it. So if somebody's bringing up a kink or a fetish that they'd like to explore, and you're just, no, I'm not into that. But they keep, you know, kind of bringing it up and talking about what they would do. And, oh, it would just be so sexy if you were to at least try this or something like that.
50 Shades of Grey. This is why we hate 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades of Grey. The whole beginning of that freaking story movie, I don't care how you watched it, took it into your brain, don't do it like that.
Primming someone and consent is totally different.
Yes. Yeah. So okay, so we can let's move on to the next question. This is heavy.
Yeah, we go.
Got a lot of morbid subscribers.
Right?
Like, man, well, they want to know, and it's cool that we have people asking these questions, because if they're asking these questions and it's multiple questions, it's happening. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a little heavy today, y'all, but we have to give you guys the information you guys are asking for. So sometimes it gets heavy deep in here. So yeah, so we have a small Turner, and he said, what is the difference between CNC, which is different than non-consent and consent? So CNC is different than that.
Yeah. So consensual non-consent, you're getting consent before you ever step into a play scene. Consensual non-consent is a play scene. So it's you go through negotiations, you go through asking for the consent, you're going through boundaries, limits, the whole nine, because you have to dot every I, cross every T to you really should, to practice consensual non-consent. And so non-consent is a no, I don't want to, I don't feel like it. Maybe is even a non-consent, because if I say maybe and you're going to continue to press, I haven't made that decision for myself. So that's that maybe, that's that slow down.
So can you or Kane break down in a little bit more detail, because you think it could be crossed between the two if someone's a little bit more vanilla? Like, what is consensual non-consent, and like elaborate on it more, just so people have a clear understanding.
Okay, so communication, non-consent is consensual non-consent. We've covered this before, and it's consenting to the non-consensual. It's, taking pleasure in the taboo, more so than just how kink and everything else is viewed. Because depends on who you're talking to. You talk to somebody super vanilla, and taboo is whips, floggers, handcuffs, St. Andrew's crosses, things like that. And it's a little bit more extreme than that, where it's just the taboo when you start getting into different types of play scenes involving rape culture, involving forward advances, unwelcome advances, which are really welcome.
Would that be
it's a form, it's like a form of extreme role play. Well, and for some people, they live this out. Consensual non-consent can also be it gets a bad rap from the rape fantasies and fetishes that fall into consensual non-consent. But consensual non-consent can be something as simple as TPE, which is total power exchange. So one person is giving another person complete and total control over what happens, what goes down, when they eat. That's in their negotiation, they decide what that is. But you're negotiating first, you're communicating first. And then there's 24/7, where you would have like a live-in sub or a live-in slave, and it's on 24/7. And sometimes, even if you do have a 24/7 situation within negotiations, when you can step out of that 24/7 role. So, it's about communicating. Consensual non-consent is like about communicating before stepping into the play scene, so I don't have to communicate with you while we're in scene.
Right.
Well, and I would also say, like the difference between non-consent and consensual non-consent, it would be a safe word.
Yeah.
So in consensual non-consent, a safe word should and will stop, stop everything right in its tracks.
Right.
And just plain non-consent, there isn't a safe word because it might not already be there might not be established, and a no doesn't stop anything.
Yeah.
So that's really the difference. It's like we talked about earlier, talking about getting your partner in the mood. partner says no, then, and that's a no. If you continue to move forward and they say, whoa, pineapples or whatever, and it's still not stopping, that's just pure non-consent. Or if it takes saying the safe word out of context and not in a scene, it's like, whoa, hey, pineapples. Like, oh, wait, you're serious about no.
Right.
That would be non-consent. It would be rejection from non-consent. So the difference between consensual non-consent would be, hey, yeah, no, really? Okay, no, all right.
Yeah.
And continue to move forward and knowing that it's okay because the safe word hasn't come out yet.
Yep. Exactly. So that, I mean,
and non-consent is total denial of whatever advance or proposition is on the table. No,
well, and like I said, non-consent can look as simple as like a maybe, or I want to, but I don't feel like it now. That's all non-consent. Like that, and that from the other person, there shouldn't be any more pressure, guilt, anything else. That's where you back off and go.
If a what, if a but, and if that is a rebuttal or in conjunction to when someone says, that is pressure and that is not getting them to consent, because you can't get someone to consent.
Yeah.
To play my advocate.
To play devil's advocate, I knew you was coming with it. Wait, what?
What about I've never done this before?
So that's gonna okay.
I've never done anything like this before.
we're gonna take another question if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so
we're not gonna talk about that. We're just gonna ignore it.
Nope. No, it's coming up.
Oh, okay. I was like,
can my shoulder work, sir, please?
No.
Please.
No. Does not work this way.
All right.
I'll put my feather out.
Yeah, okay.
Feather and
love line.
you over there.
Really weird between the two of you. Love line.
Okay. So
normally
what
it's
are
Remy
some
and
ways?
Sasha.
No, I wanted to say a stick, but I was trying to be nice. So we have Tiffany Extra, and that's her handle, okay? Because Tiffany's apparently extra. But what are some ways to stress the importance of consent to someone if they're being too forward or pushy?
So what's some ways of I missed that one little section.
So what are some ways to combat, I guess, someone being too forward or pushy, especially if you're trying to negotiate a placing? That's what I'm getting for this. Okay. If someone is trying to stress the importance of consent, what are some ways to stress the importance of consent to someone being too pushy? Like, I guess, how can you,
and I guess that
no, back the fuck up, get away from me, stop.
Right. Okay. But that's in an extreme situation. What I was going to say is it depends on the situation you're in. It depends on who you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a relationship of marriage, that you've been in a long-term type of thing. Okay. You're stable. I feel worried about. It's that simple. I feel, because the other person should have cause or concern and want to know, okay, wait, will you feel worried? That's where it should kind of halt. But like if you're in something else, you're in a placing, a dom is taking it too far. No, get the fuck off me. No, I'm serious now. The safe word ain't working, So it really
a whoa and a wait is pretty universal within kink culture. I mean, there's no wait has never been a more universal fucking like halt or pause button in anything other than kink.
Right.
That's all. There's never been like a, hey, wait, okay, that means go harder. No, that a wait is a wait is a wait. So it's hang on, whether it be out of respect or anything else. It's just, you kind of pay attention to that. A whoa is a check in. If you hear whoa, it's whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, you're good. All right. Something weird. Okay, cool. Does it need to be moved?
Right. So something that I took from that question was, even if you're in a placing, then maybe like combating it is like, okay, I'm not ready to try that right now. Or maybe we can revisit that at a later moment. Like this is like me thinking in my placing mind. So instead of it being like, no, that's weird. If you already are in that position, especially, of course, me piggybacking to the vanilla, if this is your first time in a negotiation or actually dabbling in that, and someone is bringing up something that you maybe aren't comfortable with on that placing, or if you want to do a one-time placing situation, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, hey, maybe you could try that with someone else, but I would like it if we could, trying to divert the situation to maybe something else you're more interested in trying instead of, you know, kind of being like, or, you know.
Well, so I mean, if to kind of stress it out, I mean, if you're okay, never mind. Go ahead.
No, you were going.
No, go ahead.
No, she was just laughing. Go.
Just laughing at you too. Like, shall we dance?
Okay.
Well, now you made me forget what I was gonna say. So just go ahead.
Oh, my bad. So what I was gonna say was like, if you're dealing with a complete stranger, or like, let's not say it's a complete stranger, someone you're interested in, maybe you've had a couple conversations. Shoot, maybe it's only been a couple text messages. Okay. If they're going a route that you're not comfortable with, be clear, be concise, and you can do it without being rude, without cursing someone out. You know what I'm saying? Being like, what the hell are you?
Or taking offense. You don't have to take offense to that either.
Kill them with kindness. Just be like, hey, you know, these are my boundaries. I don't appreciate being spoken to like that. I will not be spoken to like that. So, you know, that kind of thing. Set your boundaries. Set your boundaries early on, because then, you know, that person knows what to expect, you know?
Right. And you avoid keeping yourself out of a pressure situation because you already put a hard boundary on that off rip. So you don't have to keep coming back, because if you've coyly said something, or maybe not right now, or I think about it, it's going to persist. It's going to persist.
For it to be open. It leaves room for there to be a pressure. Yeah.
Well, and it comes down to just boundaries and communication, because I mean, if you have both of those, then a simple request should do. But I mean, if you're talking about somebody in a bar on a late night, you know, just trying to be a little too forward, what are the ways that you stress, you know, hey, not right now, or, you know, not like this, or something like that, and they're just being a little too pushy at last call? What do?
Walk away.
Yeah.
Walk away.
I'm like, you're so disrespectful. And a placing is different. So, and that's perfect too. If exactly when you're not in placing, then it becomes you pushing yourself off on someone because you haven't negotiated a placing, or even if you're a male or on the opposite side, or the more dominant person in your social situations or your relationships, if you aren't setting that up, or you're coming at someone new, then that's pressure. That's not consent. That's not getting them. That's putting a sheep in a corner, and you're cowering over them to say yes, metaphorically.
Well, that just comes back to the intimidation that we were talking about earlier.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we had
I
know these ones are hefty.
Yeah. Right.
But you know what? Here's the thing.
It drives.
Here's the thing. I really appreciate the heaviness of the questions, though, because it allows you to show. I mean, it allows us to show a different side. We're always very entertaining and very high spirited and funny, and we bring that, and that's fine. But we can also have deep conversations. And if people are having real issues and problems, I would love to address them on this show. So don't feel ashamed or afraid to.
Well, and also, I mean, like, how much trouble would we get into if we made it too light of a conversation, or made it too big of a joke about consent?
Right.
I mean, you're not going to please everybody. If we kind of took this from a more joking perspective, it'd be like, hey, well, consent is something very serious. Look at what's going on in Hollywood. And, everybody's got, or a lot of people have personal stories, or know of personal stories, personal friends, close relatives that have gone through something traumatic. And, this could be a trigger. So hearing about it in kind of this heavy context is, to me, it's like the best way to kind of address this, because if you make it sound too light, it becomes very offensive.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah,
like really does. And especially with like the Me Too movement and everything else. I mean, there's just a lot of things wrapped around consent now anyways. And I mean, it's a good form of practice. Why not communicate? And
we're going to play a game. Calm your asses down. We'll get funny here in a second. We'll get live.
He said, calm your asses down. We'll get funny in a second.
Make you guys laugh real soon. we gonna bring it. Okay, last question. Okay, this is Erica J. Okay, Miss Erica J. Okay, so does non-consent always lead to trouble? Like the R word, or something like that? Does non-consent lead to bad things?
Okay, I want to take that one real quick, just because I know that we're, like, a lot of people's faces and everything. We're going to the big R word, right? So, I mean, that's where everybody goes to. But I mean, you cannot get in trouble from non-consent. I mean, somebody can give you non-consent. Somebody can say, I don't feel like it right now. Somebody can say, I feel worried about, those are all, signs for non-consent. So if somebody's giving you that and you stop, no, there's no problems there. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, if somebody's giving you that and you're pressuring it and you're pushing it and get
Right.
I kind of look at it as non-consent doesn't always mean rape, but rape always stems from non-consent.
Yes. Yep. There we go.
Through that. Yep. And just because someone, from the opposed perspective, and just because someone is not consenting to something, that's not turning the whole place off. It's not killing the whole situation, That
Right.
doesn't mean piggyback on the same thing. That means, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, objectify your boundaries or anything like that. I apologize. And then kind of bringing it about and softening it, because it shouldn't be an ego blow that someone doesn't want to try something that you're open to trying. Yep. And it's not fair, because then now you're putting that bad experience on them. So will they ever want to do that? Because you persisted it, so now I don't want to.
Yeah, because now you're creating a stigma behind it. That is what shuts
down exploration. That is exactly what shuts down exploration, is when somebody is feeling uncomfortable, doesn't know how to get it to stop, and then they're like, no, I'm not into kink, I'm not into this, I'm not, and that shuts everything down. And that's what we're
You can't put stuff on people, because then it's like, making sure
add to that, Kane, you were going to add something to that.
Oh, sorry.
I was?
He said I was. He's like, I don't know.
Like, if I did, I forgot it. I think maybe you covered it. I was just listening.
Were you here?
That was your attention phase. Got it.
No, I'm like scratching my head like, did I have something to add? Was I going to add something to that?
This is going to be a fun one.
Oh no, actually I did. I had a smart ass comment, and I don't know how well it vibes with the actual question. But I mean, guys for hundreds of years, dating back to like the early 1800s, have been asking wives for like one thing, and sometimes it happens on a birthday, sometimes it's special occasion time, whether it be like a little bit of oral or a little bit of anal or something. So, but you get told no 364 days out of the year, so that one day it might be a special occasion or something. That's a form of non-consent. You're trying to explore, you're trying to, add something a little bit different. You bring it up. Do not tell your wives, hey, the guy online said, I'm just exploring boundaries, and eventually you'll say yes. Not what I'm saying at all. So I'm just saying it's happening.
Don't say safe word at all.
A lot of people ask, and a lot of people get told no. And if you respect that boundary, because you have that relationship, you have the communication, it stops right there. So non-consent doesn't always have to lead towards something extremely bad, as long as you're able to take the hint, as long as you're able to just understand that it's a boundary, it's a hard limit, and if you can possibly negotiate it, then that's a delicate bridge to cross.
That doesn't mean get a yes to then push it off again. Like, don't bring it up in the middle of placing, because now you have somebody vulnerable, and like that's gonna just make it weird, So
negotiation happens first. When the play scene happens, negotiation ends.
Correct. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Awesome. And those are all the questions that I have. If nobody else had anything, like that was super fun.
Yeah, that was. I really enjoyed the questions. I'm glad that people are writing in and having these questions. I mean, and they kept it to consent versus non-consent. So
hey. I'm glad we were able to answer everything instead of being like, oh shit, I don't know.
Oh no,
right.
Like, you're screwed.
Well, I think everyone's dealt with it in some way, shape, or form, whether they've received it or gifted, and like roundabout, make sure it's established, and consent or non-consent doesn't, non-consent doesn't necessarily mean no. You know what I'm saying? Just don't take it personal.
Right, exactly. All right, so.
Although people could be a little bit nicer about non-consent, because like ew, hell nah.
So depending on the situation.
Yeah, you don't have to be mean. That's what I was explaining. Like, there's a way to say it. You don't have to be mean. You can just be like, that's not what I'm into. That's not what I'm into.
Like even in our video, you could take probing questions from someone, and like you could see the hesitation of them even wanting to bring them up. They're intrigued already by the situation. So so it's not off the table, you want to use the correct probing questions to continue the negotiation, because especially if it's a vanilla person,
Right.
you know, ease into those consensual things, and just be compassionate how you're trying to express that. That doesn't mean you're weak. That means you just want to understand and be on the same page so you don't get me too,
Right, exactly. So are we moving into the game now? That was all the questions?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So we got a game. Miss Sasha, you want to explain it?
Yes. So we are going to play like a form of Kinktionary. That's what I've coined it as. We've picked some topics, and we've picked some definitions, and we've gotten the definitions of them, and we have a few facts about them as well. So we're going to read the definitions of each of the words that we've picked, and then we have to guess what it is. And I think we played a game similar to this before, but this one, it's reversed, and it's a little bit more thought-provoking in the things that we picked. So, who wants to start?
I want to start.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. Because of the stuff that we've been talking about today. So, consent is paramount in kink. If you're just getting started or want to slowly introduce BDSM into an existing relationship, both you and your partner should make a list of... Yeah, I made it kind of hard.
Boundaries?
Really close.
Negotiations?
Come on. Okay, it happens in negotiations. Whoa.
This feels like Jeopardy.
Limits? Limits?
Yeah, there you go, limits.
There you go.
Yeah, he got it. Yep. He's like, yes.
Let's go.
Right.
Okay. Who's
Spin
next?
for $1, Bob.
Yeah, I took the first one, so who's next? Don't all jump at once. Y'all are so much fun. This is a live. Remy, where are you?
Over there doing some birthday activities.
I'm just playing.
Okay, well, fine. I got one. See if you guys remember this one. Arousal to enemas.
Ella Fitzgerald?
Huh?
Ella Fitzgerald?
No.
Say it again.
Arousal to enemas. What is the philia for having an arousal towards enemas? We talked about it.
I think it starts with an A.
Something or other. Something with death in it.
It's no. It starts with an A, doesn't it?
Nope, starts with a K.
Oh, okay. So then I'm waiting.
I think we're all thinking of backdoor words to try to paraphrase.
What?
Clismophilia? Is that it? Yes. Okay.
Hey, you remembered.
Read the full definition again for us.
Yeah.
Animals, arousal, and enjoyment in receiving, administering, or both.
Yeah.
Enemas, the bowel sanitation.
Yeah.
Cleanliness is close to godliness, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah, but it's how close you trying to get. I mean,
like to each their own, not my thing, but to each their own.
Right. Okay.
Because I would say, like an enema is a healthy thing to do, but I don't necessarily want somebody getting off while they're doing it. Like, hey, doc, that's a little fucking unprofessional, don't you think? Like, why are both hands on my shoulders?
Well, I mean, like that, but that's for you personally. Somebody might love that.
Right. Exactly, which is nothing wrong.
But in the doctor's office, though, I mean, I feel like that's a
at the doctor's office. Oh no,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no,
I missed that piece.
I'm just saying. I mean,
that's called non-consent.
Do you want your doctor to have clismophilia?
That's called non-consent.
Right, and it's non-consent too. If you go in there oohing and ahhing and somebody doing their job too, that's not consensual because they maybe are not ready to receive all of that.
Right.
So, okay. Okay, I'm ready. Sometimes falls into a brief depression after something intense, made themselves vulnerable or needy, and now they're on their own.
Abandonism. I don't know.
So sometimes falls into a brief depression.
Subdrop.
Damn.
Damn.
sometimes falls into a brief depression after an intense play scene. They've made themselves vulnerable and needy. Now they're on their own. So that's when sub drop.
That's where aftercare comes in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give them space or give them cuddles or water.
Like that's,
or
and that
background.
sounds like a form of consenting to whatever was going on in that
Right.
play scene, and then they've dropped off.
Oh,
So
every time you're going to have a sub that's going to need to get back into the proper headspace, the right mindset to, you know, walk out the doors, you know, stand up on their own 2 feet. And, you know, we're going to discuss aftercare a little bit later.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
we'll get
it's
into
extremely
stuff
important.
It's a little bit more than that, but yes, definitely stay tuned because it's yeah, we'll explain it.
Well, I wasn't going to give like a whole rundown right here and now.
right now,
got to make it sound like Kane doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. You know, there's so much more than what he's saying.
Kane knows a ton, and sometimes he thinks he's giving like this much, but he's really giving you like everything. And I'm like, wait, make them tune in.
Right. Right. Who's next? Who got it?
Oh,
who got the juice?
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay. All right. No, I'm kidding.
Ready? All right. This fetish refers to a sexual relationship or attraction to an inanimate object.
Objectophilia.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, wait, that one's not in Latin. What the hell is it?
I was like, I'm like, we talked about this before. Oh, this is really like Jeopardy. We're gonna have to play this again.
Yeah, objectophilia or objectrum. What the in the kink community is objectrum. So yeah.
That's
all right. So cool. having arousal or attraction to cars or other machines.
Automophilia.
Is actually something completely different.
Let's see. I don't
it's
know.
like it's so simple you'll never get it.
Okay.
Twerking.
So
they're in a twerking. They're in a twerk.
Car.
The first thing that came out of your mouth was not torque, it was twerk.
It was twerk. She's like, I'm gonna twerk it on the automobile.
I just gotta say, if your vehicle is twerking, you have a problem with your alignment or your axle.
So. They have a new Bentley or new car that it does kind of twerk. It bounces.
So now you don't got.
Oh, honey, Mexicans have been doing that for years. Don't say it's new.
It's a higher end car, like a Bentley or something that does that. Normally you see them on a lowrider or like something like that.
I was gonna say a 62 Impala isn't a cheap car nowadays either.
That's Bentley gonna put it on their car and be like, look at the new hydros on the Bentley.
Okay, so is that a difference than liking cars that go fast and like really like, because I know I love cars. I have like, but I wouldn't be like, oh, that Chevrolet over there. Yeah, like
okay, so what was the word though? Like I seriously don't know.
Mechanophilia.
Oh. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Like I said, it's so simple. You guys would never.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that one. There's no way.
Mechanophilia.
Not kind of a muffin is to each their own.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so, wait. Okay. Dang it. Which one do I want to do? Okay. Sometimes goes into an almost out of body or hypnotic state if they get into role play successfully enough.
Out of body experiences again to the role play scene.
Sometimes goes into an almost out of body or hypnotic state if they get into a role successfully enough.
Is that a philia or is that a fill in the blank?
She ain't giving you nothing.
It's a phrase or a reference. It's a reference to something, not like it's just a reference to something that happens.
I know this and it's escaping my brain.
Euphoria.
Yeah. I don't know.
An orgasm?
You give up?
It's gonna drive me. It's gonna drive me nuts. Yes, I give up.
It's called. Wait, no. Oh no. Okay, so I read an example of something else, and not the.
It's a great game. And I was just like,
Hey, she's making up the rules as she goes along.
I know.
No, okay, no, I'm not.
Fair. We don't get to win.
I looked.
Shit's
I don't
rigged.
have my glasses on. I looked at the wrong line. No, it's called subspace.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
It's called subspace.
Yep.
So you can tell if someone who's into puppy play, okay, like bark like a dog, in random conversation, and they're likely to answer. Well, I have to be in subspace, so they have to totally commit to the situation, and once they're totally in place, they're in subspace.
Oh.
All right, I got one. Sexual attraction to mucus.
Oh, wait.
I love picking the ones that are so simple that you'll never get them.
No, wait. Because we talked about this. That's why it's bothering me.
Mucinex?
Something super simple too. Like, oh gosh.
I want to say close, but it'll give it away.
Mucusing?
No. Close.
Yeah, I knew it started with an M. I'm just like, what the heck? And I know it has something to do with mucus.
I'm going through all the paraphilias, so it's a philia.
Oh, it's a philia? Okay.
Yeah.
Snotophilia?
You guys could literally go snotophilia, boogerphilia,
Musophilia?
phlegmophilia, mucophilia is the answer.
Philia? Okay.
I was thinking Mucinex. Okay, leave me alone.
That's why I said it was like, I want to say you're close, but I feel like that'd give it away.
All right.
I was thinking of Mucinex. Leave me alone. So mucophilia.
I got one. Mine's going to be a little bit different. It's not much of a definition. Okay. I'm going to give you 3 words, and then you've got to tell me what it is, because it's pretty simple. Okay. So, Kinbaku, Shibari.
Japanese bondage.
Yep.
Yeah. Dang it.
You got that way too quick. He's like, Japanese
As soon
bondage.
as he said shibari, I was like, oh, okay.
I think you got a little excited with that one. I'm just saying.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Like half a cup.
Okay.
So I just got something. She's like,
Not the example, a definition.
Yeah. A submissive person in BDSM scene who moves into receiving attention and pleasure than giving it.
A switch?
Switch, yeah. No.
A submissive person in BDSM scene who is more intent on receiving attention and pleasure than giving it.
A princess pillow, pillow princess.
I knew you were gonna say that because that's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like,
a pillow princess. That's what
that sounds familiar.
The pillow princess.
Every ex I've ever had.
Oh dang!
Me.
She said me. Hey.
It's called a Doomy Queen.
A doom queen.
A Doomy Queen.
Doomy queen. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
I like Doom Queen so much better.
Yeah, that was the yeah.
I like Doom Queen so much better for that.
It's a Doomy
Why
Queen.
do you give me a shitty look? Are you a Doom Queen?
Well, that's the difference between a sub, because it's more pleasure than things, right? Than like
Okay, no, there's a difference between, like, okay, I'm in scene, that's the way we negotiated it, and this is how I live my life 24/7.
No,
it's all
so
for
it's
me.
a negotiation, because it's a submissive person in BDSM scene who is in turn on doing that. Because in my mind, I think of BDSM as checking out of your life and going into another scene. So if that is their subjective in that scene, then what if they're like a boss or a CEO, or you run your house at home, but in the scene, then you're the only one. You're taking that submissive role, yeah?
Okay, yeah, so we'll call that one a doomy queen, but somebody who does that all day long is a doom queen.
And
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, you're right. But what
I'm gonna stick with. I'm gonna stick with Pillow.
I'm trying to copyright some shit here, so
I'm gonna stick with Pillow Princess.
Me
Y'all
too,
gonna
but-
argue doomy dungeon. I don't give it. The Pillow Princess.
So that's, and it's, I would say that's a Pillow Princess because I think a Pillow Princess likes to just do that. Like you're bored, like you know,
20 to 30, you're a Pillow Princess. 30 and on up, you're a doom queen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in scene, like when it's in scene, I feel like it's different because you could be a dominant person.
Yo,
even
this is how MILF got started. A conversation just like this, you know, like we are just trying to establish a definition. I'm trying to get into Webster's for doom queen. All right. A submissive person or somebody who's more intent on receiving pleasure than giving it over 30.
In my vibe. What you want to get on with Webster's dictionary, all right?
I feel like there's at least two guys sitting right here going, a doom queen. I got one of them.
Yeah, I'm looking at her right now.
Wait till your birthday, man. You will come.
All right. Who's next? I got another good one.
She's like, I'm about this game. Let's do this.
Right.
Her face when she read it, though, like that's where I'm.
Leave me alone, okay?
You look like you got offended by what you read. No, like your face, like your brow scrunched up, like you were offended by reading it.
I don't have my glasses on, okay? It's hard to look at life like this. So, it piggybacks into what I'm saying. Okay, so, deliberately uncooperative. Sometime
Brat.
this is someone who is tapping from the bottom who could deliberately be.
I.e. Sasha.
So for you vanilla people who want to know,
that was cute. She was in the bratty face. She like, I ain't playing, but I didn't
who is deliberately uncooperative. I cooperate though. That's the difference, depending. But someone who is topping from the bottom could be literal age play. Someone pretending to be young. So a brat is someone pretending to be young. I'm young. Don't call me old. Okay.
Nobody did.
That's just what it is.
You don't say stuff like that on YouTube. Now check the comments.
I know, right?
No. Well, he didn't call me old, y'all. He didn't call
the hell up.
There's nothing wrong with seasoned people, and there is nothing wrong with maturity. I find it quite refreshing and stimulating myself. So we ain't out nobody. But in this definition, it said could literally be age play too. So it's not just a demeanor thing.
Right. Yeah. No, it's not necessarily a demeanor thing, but I mean, it's throwing a fit to get what you want.
Brats can be fun sometimes. I mean, I'm not going to downplay it. It adds a little bit of joy and excitement to it. Keeps you on your toes.
Yep.
No,
I mean, that's what makes it.
It doesn't do it.
We kept listening. It's Yeah. No, it's like, consensually, of course.
Hey, brats keep my shoulders nice and in rotation, so we're good.
I've got one. I want to see if you guys can figure this one out. It's real simple definition. It's where you turn a human being into a piece of furniture.
Oh, I've seen that. I was looking at that earlier. Dang it.
It's aphilia.
I got an end table that needs to get up here in the next 15 minutes. What is that called?
What is that called? No, it's not. No. Think furniture. It's turning people into furniture.
Automophilia?
Why did you go to automobiles?
Ottoman.
What?
Like ottoman.
Yeah, stop it.
Oh, no.
You said think furniture.
Yeah, think furniture, like use
pedophilia?
See, she's closer starting with an F, but no.
That started with an S.
Oh, I thought she said pedophilia.
No, I said furniphilia, like furniture.
Oh.
Yeah, see, so she was close with
I thought you said seatophilia.
Oh, You got it.
No, I said furniphilia.
She's the closest so far. Do you want to take a stab at it, Kate, before I give it?
Starts with an F?
Yeah.
Furnitophilia? Furnitophilia?
That close. You guys don't get it. It's pornophilia, like porn, but with an F. Pornophilia.
Pornophilia.
Like you have, okay. You like looking at furniture and it turns you on, and then you turn people into.
Yeah, you turn your people that you're playing in a play scene with into. I've actually had a client.
But wait, what if you have if you have an attraction to furniture specifically, is that still objectophilia, or is there a specific?
Objectophilia. Yeah, no, it's when you have.
But it's only furniture. It's not gas station pumps. It's not tires or anything else.
No, they can literally be anything. I mean, I've had somebody wanting to be a litter box.
But what if you have objectophilia specifically towards furniture?
Did you hear what I said? I said I've had a client that wanted to be a litter box before. So
how the hell does like just treated like a litter box, or wanted
to be called a litter box and
okay,
that like a litter box? Yeah.
I thought they wanted to, curl up in a ball with kitty litter on them and wait for, the cats to come home.
Literally the litter box. Yeah. That's why I picked that one. Because it's kind of out of the box and people don't know about these things. This is part of the extreme play,
Okay, so
yeah.
Eating, feeding, and weight gain.
Feederism.
Damn it.
You know what? I was watching this show and then it was talking about YouTubers that do stuff, but there was this smoker. He had a YouTube channel. He just smoked. And then there's a lot of people who have group chats that watch different mukbangers. I saw this on Reddit.
Yeah.
There's group chats of people on the dark and they watch different mukbangers and they're super into it.
Yep.
Or people put that stuff on their OnlyFans and stuff like that.
I sent a 20-minute video to somebody one time of me just enjoying a cigar. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
There's definitely all kinds of.
Yep. I mean, I've done the videos where they just want you to record yourself eating. You know what I'm saying? It's okay.
I was trying to get on that. What was that cam website 2-3 years ago that was willing to sponsor your Thanksgiving dinner up to $300? They'd send you $300 if you just put a webcam up while you ate Thanksgiving dinner. Didn't have to do anything sexual. Didn't have to be anything like that. There just couldn't be kids in it.
Thanks.
But I guess I missed the cutoff when I heard of it because I didn't get selected.
The whole family on there. Y'all eat. We getting paid.
Just every now and again, look at the camera.
Make it look so good. Now, I don't care if the cornbread dry. Eat it. She said.
Every now and again, compliment my cooking.
Oh, it's so delightful.
It was good.
Feels good.
Was that it for the game, or did we have other definitions?
We're out.
Okay. So real quick before we jump off and I have King close us down, I really do miss Mr. Remy. It is the big. I'm not gonna say his age because he might kick.
It's a great birthday. It's a milestone.
It's a great big birthday. And so if you are following our page, just go and shout him out. Wish him a happy birthday. That's why he's not here tonight. We miss
and you too, Mr. Roy. Go tell him happy.
Yes, we miss you. We love you, Remy. Happy birthday. You better be celebrating for all of us. I'm sorry we can't be there with you next year, man. Next year is going to be huge. Next year. So, Ken, you want to take us out?
Yes.
Yeah. So first off, hey, Roy. Bye, Roy.
Yes. Hi, Roy. And shout out to Stu, because Stu always watches also. So yes.
So if you want to be featured, and shouted out on SafeWord, just tune in, stay consistent, and comment every now and again. We love to hear from you guys. We're really trying to grow our fan base. So tell your friends, tell your family, because they're the reasons you're like this. So from all of us here at SafeWord, we love you, and we can't wait to see you guys again. Wait for us next week, and we'll bring you guys some more new content. All right, you guys, take it easy, and remember your safe word.